Hey everyone, Hammeh here. In this video I'm celebrating one of the less, or at least lesser, known characters of Overwatch, who has some great voice work that many of you may never have heard, at least without the zinging of gunfire. When playing on Overwatch's Hollywood level, a lot of people want to know the story behind the map and wonder who's actually in the car that is the payload. Well, wonder no more. Today we'll be looking into the life, lore, personality and voice lines of Halfred Glitchbot, the noted omnic film director. Firstly, we'll start with a bit of the lore. Overwatch's Hollywood is little different on the surface from the Hollywood dream and stereotype we know today. Palm trees and fancy cars line the streets. To many it's a world of glitz and glamour, whether it's the production of films at Goldshire Studios or high-powered studio executives and movie stars doing business over drinks at gallons. However, Hollywood hasn't escaped the tensions of the world of Overwatch. With the second omnic crisis dubbed to be happening in both Russia and elsewhere in the world at the moment, anti-omnic tension has even reached Tinseltown itself. Omnics are certainly making inroads into the film industry, with Thespion 4.0 starring in a few of Glitchbot's films, so alongside existing world tensions, I'm sure human actors aren't too overjoyed at more competition for jobs. Whatever the reasoning is, anti-omnic protesters are attempting to waylay Glitchbot, and the attacking team are attempting to escort him safely to his trailer in the map. The defending team must prevent him from getting there, whatever they intend to do once they achieve it. Now, Halfred Glitchbot is a noted omnic film director, but to some he's more of an auteur. A film director who influences their films so much that they're almost their author and sole creator. Whether that's a good thing for his films though, is a subject for debate. Glitchbot's taken a name after the great Alfred Hitchcock, an English film director and producer who took American citizenship in the mid-50s. At times he's been referred to as the master of suspense, pioneering many elements of suspense and psychological thriller genres that we know today. Hitchcock was best known for his film Psycho, with the notorious string music, and The Birds. Halfred Glitchbot's film output is, well, a bit more mixed in quality than that of his namesakes. His latest films, They Came From Beyond the Moon and Six Gun Killer, have released to varying amounts of critical and commercial acclaim. That's probably the most polite way to put it. And in his voice lines, you can perhaps see why. Glitchbot has a whole array of lines in the game files. You may only hear a few of these in an actual Hollywood match, but it's great to hear everything that hasn't been used too, as it shows a lot about his potential personality. Now, there's a heavy dose of arrogance and pride in Glitchbot's lines. He certainly believes that he is somewhat of a big deal.
Do you know who I am? I'm Halfred Glitchbot. Hello, 911? What do you mean this isn't an emergency? I'm a famous person in an emergency. It's like double jeopardy. Oh, someone forgot to refill my champagne bucket. Hey, would you get in there and see if any of those bottles have whiskey in them? Genius. Pure genius. Get out of my way, big Hollywood director coming through.
Ego bigger than the sun there, I think, but he's certainly trying to live a fancy lifestyle. And Glitchbot is definitely not the most patient of people, whether it's with his bodyguard or the amount of time he's taking to get to his destination.
Where is everyone? The lazy bums. This is why I hate mandatory human hiring quotas. I could have walked faster than this. Yes, about time we got moving. Last time I checked, this was not my trailer. My trailer is that way, you imbeciles! I swear, if we don't make it, you're all fired. How long is this gonna take? May as well have tires on this thing. Can we hurry this up? I've only got a whole day of shooting ahead of me. You are all fired.
And if something's not going Glitchbot's way, then he has a whole section of insults that he can throw at you and anyone who's escorting the payload.
I can see the headlines now. Prominent omnic film director found dead in own limo. Cause of death? Gross incompetence. You freaks could be in this movie. What? No, I won't pay you. Are you kidding me? What do you think you're doing? I just had this watch last week. Where in central casting did they find you? This is why I hate working with humans. Oh, what am I paying you for anyways? Oh, that's coming out of your paycheck.
Somewhat interesting that Glitchbot hates working with humans. Obviously we've seen Thespion 4.0 starring in his films, although there are some humans in them as well. That might be one reason why the anti-omnic protesters aren't too happy. And when someone dies near the payload, he has a few funny lines.
Union's not gonna be happy about this. Bodyguards. Dime a dozen.
He sees his bodyguards as being very much replaceable. As for Glitchbot's inspiration and creativity behind his films, there's a few funny lines and interactions he has as well.
What, Jesse McCree? That is a terrible name for a cowboy.
Besides insulting McCree's name, it sounds as though that he's taken his inspiration for Six Gun Killer straight from someone we know in the Overwatch cast of heroes.
Exterior, dawn. Two men stare at each other down the main thoroughfare. He squints, 6 guns at the ready. Hell, it's high noon somewhere in the world. Not bad, huh? Wrote it myself.
And the scene in the Whiskey Jack saloon as you pass it doesn't sound to be massively creative either.
Interior, Whiskey Jack saloon. He taps the shoulder of the man at the bar. I got a gun with your name on it. 6 of them.
For this next line, I can't help but think it would be a reaction to Winston near the payload. Anyone ever heard it?
Would you look at this guy? You know what? I'm seeing a title. World of the Four-Eyed Apes.
And Glitchbot appears to be trying to stick to a tried and tested formula for They Came From Beyond the Moon as you pass the soundstage set.
Aliens, rocket ships, and a human with a gun. Audiences never change, God bless them.
While you're making the journey from the studio lot to the back lot, Glitchbot seems to be trying to at least grab some footage as he's on his travels.
Could you at least stand in frame? I might as well try and get my money's worth. No, cut! You're ruining my shot.
And the omnic director does see some promise in the performing around him, if not acting abilities of his bodyguards, although he's not exactly complimentary about it.
You could be a star, kid. You ever think about acting? No? Don't worry, none of my actors do.
Now a bit of humour now. Although he's rather acid-tongued, old Hal does have a sense of humour. He has this to say about several bits of the Western set for Six Gun Killer.
4th Bank of the West. I swear that's where the financing for my next picture is coming from, huh? County jail. My hairdresser should be in there. He ought to be locked up for how much he charges. Hey, watch the scenery. I have a lot invested in it. No, not really.
Perhaps, given that everything's so cheap, old Halfred is having a few financial difficulties, or maybe he's just very cost efficient, shall we say. I also find it funny that omnics decide to have hairdressers. And he's not the kindest about the attire of his escort at some points.
Do you usually dress like that, or did you just rob my wardrobe department?
And he has quite a few other humorous insults of the journey too.
I've seen period dramas that moved faster than this. I've seen second act plot complications less bumpy than this ride.
Now, I'm not sure if this next line's actually in the game, but it has to be for a builder hero or a reaction to a builder hero, Torbull Symmetra, right?
If you want to build something, get down to the props department.
Now finally, a little reference game. Do you recognise the name of the director in this line when Halfred decides to pat himself on the back?
Oh, I can see the reviews. A visionary director, the likes of which has not been seen since the days of Ed Wood.
So this is actually a reference to Ed Wood, a low-budget director in the 50s. He was known for sci-fi, comedy, horror and sort of schlocky films, achieving a bit of a cult status. Posthumously in 1980, he was given a Golden Turkey for the worst director of all time. There is a massive irony after this. He actually had a biopic movie on him released with Johnny Depp starring in it in 1994, which ultimately ended up in winning 2 Oscars. Not bad for a guy who was known for producing, shall we say, more low-budget films. And we can certainly understand why maybe Halfred Glitchbot would see him as his icon, given the kind of films that Halfred churns out. And finally, Glitchbot will occasionally throw out this line, referencing what must be a certain Overwatch development team member, surely?
Look, if you see that Kaplan kid, tell him to stop joyriding in my golf cart. Because I know it was him!
It's good to know that in a very unlikely world, if Overwatch goes a bit quiet at any point in the future, then a certain Mr. Kaplan can at least have a new career or return to an old one in Hollywood. He might want to avoid the joyriding though. Cheers for popping through this somewhat different video today. Next time you're on Hollywood, particularly on attack, keep a listen out for this precocious talent, shall we say, and his grumbling voice lines as you escort the payload. Lore Bites and Hero Lore voice line and interactions are both coming out this week, so do stay tuned for those. If you're new to the channel, check out all of my regular Hero Lore, voice lines, interactions and Overwatch Lore series as well as more in these playlists here. Cheers for tuning in. I've been Hammeh. Take it easy.